Ever found yourself scrolling through free agents, spotting a talented player on injured reserve, and wondering if you can snag them for your fantasy team? It is a common situation, especially when trying to optimize your roster and stay ahead of your competition. Yes, in most standard fantasy football leagues, you absolutely can pick up free agents who are currently designated as being on injured reserve. This is generally permitted because their status as a free agent means they are not currently on another team's roster in your fantasy league. The key here lies in distinguishing between a player on injured reserve who is currently rostered by another manager versus one who is on injured reserve and also unrostered, meaning they are a free agent. If a player is on injured reserve but already on someone else's team, you cannot acquire them directly from the waiver wire or free agency. You would need to trade for them. However, if a player is a free agent and then placed on injured reserve by their real-life National Football League team, they become an interesting target. Fantasy platforms typically do not restrict you from adding these unrostered players, as they still occupy a space on the waiver wire or free agent list. Many leagues also have an injured reserve slot on your fantasy roster, specifically designed for players with this designation, allowing you to stash them without taking up a valuable active roster spot. So, how do you make this work for you? First, regularly check the free agent pool in your fantasy league for players with an IR designation next to their name. Second, if your league has an IR slot, consider using it to pick up these players. This lets you add a potentially high-value asset for later in the season without sacrificing a healthy player from your active roster or bench. If your league does not have an IR slot, you can still pick them up, but they will occupy a regular bench spot, which might be less ideal. An insider tip to remember is the difference between a player being out for a few weeks and being officially placed on injured reserve. Players on IR typically must miss at least 4 games, and often longer, but it confirms a longer-term absence, making them ideal stashes. This strategy is about playing the long game, identifying talent that will pay off when they return to play later in the season. Understanding this rule gives you a valuable tool for roster management, allowing you to strategically add promising players who are temporarily sidelined. By patiently holding onto these IR stashes, you can build a deeper, more resilient team, ready to dominate as the season progresses and other managers overlook these hidden gems.